through this. Cool. Okay. Hey, Keith.
Hey, Anna, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Not bad. Just getting my safety talk ready. I feel good about it.
Yay. All right. So we have some new members on. Hey, Matt.
Hey Anna, how are you?
I'm good. Alex, are you taking notes?
Yep.
How was Washington?
Oh, it was great. The canyon we did was surprisingly really nice, so hope to do more of that.
Yeah, I wanted to meet up with you, and I got so far north. I was like, man, it's going to take me about 3 hours just to get back down there to camp. So,
Yeah, that's not worth it.
yeah, that was fun though. Glad you got out there. Do you go out there all the time to see him?
I try to get out there once a year.
All right. And Alex, just to clarify, if I want to, for new business, if I want to appoint Hayden during this meeting, I'm good to do that.
Yep, you as the chair, you can appoint him, so you don't
Okay.
need anything else.
But the thing, okay, he did say that he would be hopping on. Okay, cool. Hey, Joel.
Howdy.
Okay, so we have,
Hey, Joe.
and David's not going to be here. So we have Alex, Keith, Joel, Sebastian. Awesome. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Alex, you're ready to go?
Yep,
Cool. Okay. Let me pull up my agenda. Start with roll call. Keith Applis,
Here.
David Vigiano, absent. Sebastian Weber,
Here.
Joel Rowe,
Here.
Alex Lambie,
present.
and I am here. Um, we will, what'd you say? Okay. So reports, we'll start with Keith Applis, our vice chair.
Well, we've got the potluck coming up. We're pretty excited about it. Just wanted to throw a reminder out there. That's all I got.
Okay. Um, David's absent. Sebastian Weber.
I got nothing.
Okay. Joel.
Um, Checked the mail about a week ago. Nothing of any substance in the mail for us. And
Okay.
let's see, we did have four helmet rentals today.
Cool. All right. And
Um, yeah.
Alex.
No report from me.
Okay. All right. I'll get to my report. Okay, I'm just going to speak on some of the events this month. June 5th through 7th that's this upcoming weekend is the Huntsville Grotto Float and Camp Out at Robbie Chandler's property. This is a free event. You can bring your pets. There's going to be a float trip on the Paint Rock River on Saturday. They're going to leave the farm at 8:30 a.m. Central, 9:30 Eastern, and drive to Paint Rock, canoe and kayak rental. So if you don't have a vessel, you can rent one from these folks. The float trip starts in Paint Rock, Alabama, and ends at Robbie's farm. Paddle lasts around 4.5 to 5 hours, and it's flat water. There's going to be pizza on Friday night, hot dogs and hamburgers. Also, that'll be provided by the Grotto Saturday evening. Please bring a side dish to share on Saturday. As for activities, there will be ropes rigged in trees and in the airplane hangar. There's going to be haunted house tours, airplane rides, hay rides, and games. and plenty of firewood. So if you haven't been to the Huntsville Grotto Float and Camp Out, you should definitely try to make it out. It's always a fun time. June 13th and 14th, as Keith mentioned, he's planned a potluck and camp out at Tumbling Rock Cave in Jackson County. This is just bring a dish to share. If you, Keith is actually going to have like a cooking station set up. So if you have anything, any meats that you want to bring, we'll be getting that cooked. TR does have an outhouse and Wi-Fi, and there's plenty of caves in the area, including Tumbling Rock, which is right there at the preserve. We will have a few lead trips, probably in Tumbling Rock Cave. I have one on the calendar right now. I don't know if there's any spots left, but feel free to sign up if there are. Bring camp chairs, and if you'd like to come early to help set things up or do cooking, then please reach out to Keith, who's on this call right now. June 23rd is our Cave-In Advisory Board meeting on Zoom at 7 p.m. Eastern. As many of you know, the Tagfall Cave-In, which is the festival that our grotto hosts every year, last year we had to cancel. So we're kind of starting over from scratch at a new site this year, and we could use a lot of volunteers. Um, so, with that said, please hop on the meeting, get involved. You can reach out to the chair, cab chair at dogwoodcitygrotto.org. Her name is Pat Sizer. You can also reach out to one of us if you want to volunteer. June 26th, we have a rope night at Jennifer Young and Chris Lee's house in Duluth, Georgia. That's 6 to 10 p.m. If you are new to vertical, this is or experience, you can go over there. It's always a fun time. They do have some loaner gear sets and a variety of different types of uh, and brands of gear that you can play with. And June 29th, we have a board meeting. So if you want to get involved or know what's going on with the monthly business, feel free to hop on. That's on Zoom at 7 p.m. Eastern. Also, the Tagfall Cave-In is set to take place this year, October 8th through the 11th at Cloudmont Ski and Golf Resort in Mentone. The theme this year is going to be ski tag. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're interested in volunteering, please reach out to the Cave-In board or the chair. And lastly, the Grotto made $4,609 at our annual auction at Cavers Paradise this year. So thank you to everyone who donated and participated to make it successful. That's all I have for my report. Do we have any committee members on here? Cave-In chair, cab, trip coordinator. Is Tim on here? I don't see him. Okay. All right. Old business. Do y'all have any old business that y'all want to talk about? Okay.
And for me,
All right. So only thing I have, Joe, go ahead.
So I'd kind of like to go caving. That's to say, I'm kind of thinking about leading a trip. Um, Physically, mechanically, I'm fine. I have no endurance. I was thinking of maybe leading what I call an old bastards trip into Tumbling Rock, where me and other people that really can't catch our breath anymore can go like, the first or the second room, sit down, have snacks, tell stories, and then, we've gone caving, and it's something I'm thinking about.
I like that, Joe. Well, are you going to be at the potluck next weekend?
Quite possibly.
Okay.
I'm going
Well,
to firm up my plans and let you know.
okay. Yeah. Reach out to me and me or Tim can get it on the calendar, but thanks for being willing to lead a trip. So the only thing that I have for new business, we have our GU editor, our Georgia Underground, which is our quarterly publication for the Grotto. Mickey Manning, she is retiring from her position, and Hayden Young, who is actually on this call, is going to be taken over for her. So I moved to make Hayden Young the new GU editor. Do I have a second?
I'd second that.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations, Hayden. And thank you for being willing to serve. I appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
All right. So we'll move on to the presentation that we have tonight. Chad McCain, who's on the call. I think, Chad, you're from St. Louis, Missouri, right? Or you currently live there?
Soon as I figure out how to unmute this, yeah, I currently live outside of St. Louis. Grew up in Illinois. No cave
Oh,
where I grew up though. I mean, there
cool.
are caves in Illinois, just not where I grew up. I didn't know shit about it anyway.
Well, Chad is going to be speaking on Lechuguilla Cave. That is in Carlsbad Caverns National Park in New Mexico. For those of you that don't know, Chad, do you want to go ahead and take over? Do you have a slideshow or something that
I
I need?
do. I
Okay.
do. Yeah, I'll share my screen and
Okay, let's
it's
see.
just been a while since I've used. I guess you have to give me permission on Zoom, don't you?
Yes, I do. Let me see. Host tools for share.
I've been using Teams at work, which is a lot different.
Yeah.
Similar but different.
Who can share when someone else is sharing? Mm, okay. All right. Does it allow you to now, Chad?
That's a good question. If not, this will be a really boring talk.
I did update it.
That's a good question. Oh, share screen. Here we go. How
Cool.
about this? All right. Well, some of you all I know, some of you I don't. Rubbed elbows with a lot of you at the Tagfall Cave-In over the years, I'm sure. But anyway, yeah, so earlier this year I got well actually it was last year. So I went caving last year in the Bighorn Mountains with Dan Austin. And anyway, after that trip was over the next month, he's like, "Hey man, you want to do something cool?" I'm like, "Well, hell yeah, I want to do something cool. What are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, let's go to Lechuguilla." Of course, he's been caving there over the years, but I'd never been, so of course I jumped all over it. Um, anyway, that was kind of how it got started. I've actually known Dan for a long time. He actually used to cave in Missouri where I do, but I never caved with him. I just met him through the old timers that I learned under, 18 years ago. So anyway, made my way out to New Mexico, right? And I had never been to Carlsbad Caverns National Park, never been to the big cave. So I got there early so I could take a tour. But who cares about that, right? That's not why we're here. But this is where we stayed, right? Rolled in kind of your typical, if you go to, I don't know, I'll just compare it to Mammoth Cave where I go quite a bit. We have accommodations there, kind of like here, only the park provides this, right? So we got this was, by the way, this was a 4-day camp trip. The objective was survey, rope replacement, and trail maintenance. Okay. One thing that I thought was cool about this was Carlsbad actually supplies all the rope for Lechuguilla. I'm assuming they supply all the ropes for all the other caves at the park too that are active projects and whatnot. That was the impression I got anyway. So anyway, got to start somewhere, right? You got to start packing. The hard part is I'm used to caving in Missouri. I've done a fair amount of caving in Tag, but no big project trips down there, right? If I show up down in y'all's neck of the woods, I'm just down there to goof off on rope. Um, but I am no stranger to survey. I'm no stranger to camp trips, but the difference is the heat. Okay. So anyway, if you ever get invited on a trip out there, first thing you got to do is you got to reach out to people that have been there, and you got to get a packing list. This is not something you can just wing, right? Really, same as anywhere, but you got to pack, right? So I started packing. There was some gear that I had to buy. Some stuff I wanted to go much lighter. The camp trips I do in Missouri, we've been kind of lucky. We can float our packs in. Where here we went down 1,200 feet. So carrying all those pounds back up in the high humidity and the higher heat of Lechuguilla was definitely a concern. But in the morning of Friday, gosh, I forget the dates. This was the end of March, towards the end of March. We take off and we head on down this road, which is right near the visitor center, but currently it's closed. This gravel road was washed out. And anyway, it's closed to the general public. I don't think they even want you walking out there. It's just a big, huge loop. But regardless, we got on site, and this is the famous Lechuguilla plant. God, I forget what it's actually called off the top of my head. I think it stands for little lettuce, or and an English translation was shin dagger. So even though it looks like an aloe, I think it is in the aloe family. That stuff was pretty, like, if you trip and fall on it, you're going to get impaled. It was pretty impressive how rigid it was. But like most national parks, I don't know why this surprised me, but I got there, and of course there was a brass plaque on the wall right next to the cave entrance. So I'm like, oh, cool. I gotta, get another picture of all the brass plaques. And this was kind of one of those trips where I've never read a lot about the cave. Of course, we've all probably heard about it in one way, shape, or form, but I've just never really read about it because I never worked my way into getting to go, and so really after I did get invited, I purposely didn't look up much on it just because, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to be shocked by, or surprised, I guess, right, at the environment or what the entrance looked like. And here it is. It's a sinkhole kind of right off the rim, or well, just up from the valley floor. I don't know if water used to flow into this or not before that valley down cut. Of course, this would have been in far wetter times, but kind of impressive nonetheless. But anyway, I was pretty excited. This was in the afternoon. It was, I think, 90. It was around 90 degrees by the time we got in there. Uh, uh, didn't sweat a whole lot just because of the humidity is obviously lower in the desert outside of the cave, but I still drank, I think, a liter, maybe a liter and a half of water. I took my mountain biking pack, very low profile water bladder to wear, just because I knew I was also going to have to drink water when I got out, right? And of course, I was so damn excited. They were like, "Hey, go ahead and rig the rope going in. Make sure you rig the reblaze." Well, I was just so excited just to get the hell into the cave that I forgot to rig the reblaze, and I went over this horribly undercut lip with my camp pack. It sucked, but whatever. Live and learn, right? So this is the entrance. I don't remember the depth, maybe 50 feet here, but the pit does go on down further, right? But nice little pit, and nice and cold. Then there's this little alcove, and then that's where, okay, cool. I'm going to start taking pictures of all the rigging just because, I don't know, I have an interest in that sort of thing, on how people in different regions rig differently. Okay. Well, LechC is rigged IRT, indestructible rope technique, right? 11 mil PMI. And you may wonder, just like I did, like, well, why not 9 mil? Why not 10 mil? Well, so the way it was explained to me, to re-rig the cave to alpine rigging would cause so much more damage to the cave, and there's already a well-beaten path where 11 mil lines have been ran for, oh gosh, when did they dig it open? Early 80s, I think it was. Anyway, so over 40 years, right? So there's to add a different route down now with alpine rigging, they just don't want to do that. All right. So anyway, you got a 50-foot drop, a little 20 feet of caving, and then this little 12-foot nuisance drop, and then here's the airlock. And if you ever read the book Deep Secrets by Patty Cambyses and others, this is the area where wind speeds were clocked at 40 miles per hour coming out of the cave whenever the airlock was open. So now there's this straight up stainless steel airlock. You go in, you see the door just inside this tube. You get inside, you shut the door, your ears pop, and then you open the door that's on the right, and that leads you down this hole, which, Gloria, she was like, "Here, I got to get your photo. This is the iconic LechC photo." Again, I had no idea what the hell this airlock even looked like. I'd heard of it, but the doors open right there on the right hand side of the photo. That both doors swing into each other there. And the one downside I found, you see that handhold above my left, our right on the photo. If you come out of that, the handhold, or the doorknob for the exterior door, is right there, and you can accidentally open that door while you're climbing out, and or you could have both doors partially opened, and at which case the airflow would be so tremendous that you wouldn't even be able to get the doors shut, and you'd be trapped in the cave. I've heard a lot of stories about all this. But anyway, this steel tube is kind of going down at an angle, and they said, "Oh, sure, wear your pack like that, like Arya's wearing here, and Gloria." And I tried that, and that pack ended up over my head, on my helmet, pinned my face to the ground. I'm like, well, this trip's getting off to a great start, right? And this is, by the way, the coldest part of the cave. This was like Missouri. This was like Illinois. This was like Arkansas, Kentucky, or Tennessee or Alabama. But once you got into this airlock, the temperatures are 69 degrees and 100% humidity. And I've caved in Mexico, in Huatla, again, all over the Midwest and the Southeast. And the cave temperatures are pretty steady, but this 69 degrees, it actually did have me worry. I'm a very hot caver. I've hauled dive tanks for Mike Young wearing a tank top and blue jeans in Missouri Cave before and still been sweating. So anyway, besides that, Hunter did give us a safety debrief. There's a whole video that we had to watch in a presentation. And the biggest concerns here are dehydration and heat exhaustion. And it is no joke. Anyway, warm cave, right? So we got these roughly 40-pound camp packs, this brand new PMI pit rope that the park gave us. Again, we're going in to swap ropes, but this is the trail. So you'll see these flagged routes throughout the entire cave and in all these photos. And again, if you refer back to Patty's book on the discovery of pretty much everything you'll see today, they were flagging a route through the cave as soon as they got in because of how, I guess, well, it was pristine. But anyway, I'm glad they did. I am not a fan of flagging tape, right? But I've seen the aftermath of people, hell, I'll just call it what it is, wreck caving a cave to death, where there is no elephant tracks in a confined trail. There's footprints everywhere. The biggest example I can think of is the moon milk in Ellison's being stomped to shit, right? It looks nothing like it was when it was discovered years ago. But anyway, so you've got these routes everywhere, right? You stay between the flagging. And this is at the Liberty Bell. This is, heading in with Gloria and Aria, or I'm sorry, Georgia. Again, just a picture of the rigging. The reason why I guess this is rigged the way it is, not the way I would have done it, but hey, it works. It's just a really steep slope down, really slick flow zone, right? Probably not needed if you didn't have a camp pack, but going down, coming up, kind of a pain in the ass. So this is only about 15 minutes in from the entrance. This is Boulder Falls, right? This is the big drop that everybody's heard of. You can see, I think it's 3 stainless steel cables coming into the rope anchor point. That is from the Emily Davis rescue in, oh gosh, I think it was 1992. She fell, not current Emily Davis, the other Emily Davis. She fell back in an area actually where we went through, and it took 4 days and 178 cavers to get her out. And that rigging, that stainless steel rigging, those cables, it's left over from them. But this is looking down Boulder Falls. This was actually on the way out. I just took a blurry ass photo of my camp pack with the other people down below. But you know, kind of big. It really kind of reminded me of some of the bigger rooms that I've rappelled into, down in Alabama or Tennessee. It was cool, but that led to borehole. Okay, a lot of gypsum, a lot of white. A lot of the photos that I took, I'm just walking at the back of the pack and I'm just taking pictures of the people in front of me. Just because. But one thing that they had out there in no shortage of was gypsum. We don't have a lot of gypsum in Missouri. I don't know if you guys have a lot where you're at, but I haven't seen it. But anyway, the gypsum out here is tens of feet thick, and water droplets from a long time ago would just bore holes right down through it very easily. As you see, it's pretty dissolvable. This was Glacier Bay, and if you look closely at all the striations in the rock, well, that's also gypsum. That's from the boulders, getting dripped on and then shifting their weight, and then new drips form. So you have all these little cross striations in it, and you got to climb your way through it. And when I think of gypsum, I think of drywall, right? Fixing my house. I've really honestly never seen solid gypsum before. I was kind of actually apprehensive that it would be fairly fragile and breaking. Nope, that stuff was bomber, very solid. But it led to bigger cave, and again, we're going downhill pretty fast. But even with a camp pack, I was, again, I was pretty warm. I did take John Lyle's advice. I dropped a liter of water off at the top of Boulder Falls, so I'm already down to 4 liters. And I brought 5 in. Okay, so that was the other thing. I've never carried 12 pounds of water, or no, 10 pounds of water just on a cave trip before, even going camping because there's always ample water here, So again, this was well out of my area of comfort, well out of my area of expertise. So literally relying on the expertise of others. But that's why you ask questions and you listen, right? So anyway, down to four, probably 3.5 liters of water. I probably drank a half liter by now. If you look dead center of the photo, there was a formation out there I'd never seen before, and they called them crinkle blisters. They were just these little gypsum bubbles that would eventually pop and just look like a little deflated little balloon, right? In some areas, there are these random ropes hanging, and you can see that gooey slime dripping off of the rope there down in the bottom of it. Well, that is from the microorganisms eating the lubricant that from the machining, well, from the manufacturing process. Let's just call it that, right? So that's food for them. But anyway, so here we are. We're now at the rift. There's a lot of traverse lines set through the rift. Um, this was kind of a big obstacle back in the day when they discovered they were going down here. They were not going across everything. They were trying to get a deeper cave than Carlsbad, right? The big cave. So they went down all these holes. Uh and apparently, this really wasn't that bad at caving. It was fairly clean. As you can see, Georgia's still pretty clean. We've been kind of crawling around. This is Captain Hook Ladder. This is where they came up during their original exploration, and they found that, oh, well, maybe we should have stayed at the mid-level of the rift, and of course that led to where we went, and other areas. I forget where the deepest part of the cave actually is, but if I'm not mistaken, it's not down the rift, and I could be completely wrong on that. If anybody is here that's been there, knows better than spread the word that I'm telling lies. It doesn't bother me. But anyway, okay, so the worst part about the camp trip is crawling, right? You got these big, heavy camp packs. Well, this crawl was maybe 20 feet long, and there was another one as well. I'm 6'3", so wearing that camp pack on my back, I thought, oh, this is gonna suck, right? I'm gonna have to take the pack off. I was actually able to do the crawl hands and knees. I think I did drop to my elbows. But it really, again, it wasn't too bad. It was just the physical exertion in that 69-degree weather. But cave popped back open. Now we're getting into, okay, cool. We got some like drippy formations and these really long soda straws, and still not like super pretty, right? There's a lot of white everywhere, a lot of gypsum, but whatever. So we stopped because finally I told my crew, I was like, I'm hot as hell. So Gloria whips out this little rechargeable little hand fan, Georgia, I'm sorry, and she gives me this thing, and so there I am. But yeah, I'm soaked, I'm hot. It was very warm, but uh very shortly after we get to EF Junction. Okay, EF Junction, that's where John Lyles said drop another liter of water at EF Junction. All right, so now I'm down to probably 2 liters at this point. Dropped two, still carrying two, drank one. And this EF Junction is where you turn off to head to the Chandelier Ballroom, right? So the Chandelier Ballroom is one way, and Deep Secrets, Deep Seas Camp, the Western Borehole, that's the other direction. But anyway, I went in there just 15, 20 feet and saw these little chandelier looking things on the floor. And you look at it knowing that, okay, 40 minutes away are these giant chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. So this was kind of like, oh, of course, the writing was on the wall, for lack of a better way to put it, of what they were going to find 30 years ago or whenever it was. But anyway, this is heading on past EF Junction, getting a lot whiter. Again, you can see that path, stay between the flagging tape, right? Uh, got more traverse line ropes, more white, and now we're approaching the Great White Way. As far as flagging, route finding out there wasn't too bad. One, there were 3 people on the trip who knew the cave very well, but two, they write directions like at junctions on the flagging tape, so you know what significant areas of the cave are in what direction from the junction. So Anyway, ropes are rigged. It's going down this slope. I don't know, what does that look like? A 45 degree angle. Pretty neat. Again, very white. And looking off into those holes past Georgia, I was thinking, gosh, man, has anybody ever been over there? And of course, then you see blue flagging, which is the survey station flagging they use. That was the other thing. I learned in the Bighorns. Well, Derek Bristol was flagging grade X with blue flagging for stations, orange for route finding or for flagging the way through the cave. Well, this cave is flagged the exact same way. I don't know who came up with it first, but that's kind of the color code that you can use to navigate is orange is your route, right? Blue is your survey station. So if you're looking for a survey station, you're looking for the blue. I don't know what red is. I didn't pay attention to that, but this is looking on down the Great White Way. Again, this is I think probably other than Boulder Falls, this is the great one of the greater elevation losses in the whole area that we went to, and that's this again. We're landing down on this massive boulder field, coming down this really steep slope, and even the route through the boulders is flagged off because even the boulders are covered with gypsum, and right at the bottom of the Great White Way when you hit the basically the start of Deep Secrets is this. I mean, I've never seen a chandelier like this anywhere. I guess maybe the oh gosh, the North Pole, South Pole, and Ellison's comes close to this, but even that has nothing. And this is nothing in this cave. And like this was really cool, but you saw that look on my face in the opening photo of the slideshow that I had in that picture. And Dan took the photo, but he wasn't telling me when he was taking the photo, which is why I had that stupid look on my face, like, wow, this is really unimpressive. But whatever. Anyway, so this is getting on down into Deep Secrets. The bedrock in this area is covered with calcite, very slick, very rounded. I know there was a name for it. I can't remember what, but this is an area where finally it's like, okay, we're getting into a cave that actually, or an area of the cave that actually feels like it's alive, right? Because of the actual, calcite formations. And there was a pool of water, and it's like, holy crap, we haven't seen water since the entrance of the cave, right? So water is very scarce. That is exactly why I'm carrying 5 liters of water just to get to camp, right? But this is not a water source that you can drink from. It has nothing to do with being contaminated. It's just that you can't drink water out of the pools unless you have a sterile means to get the water out. You can't just dip your water bottle into the water out there. You got to have an alternative means. But anyway, Dan took those shots while we were surveying, but once you get down in Deep Secrets, you got to go up this last murderous climb, or at least it feels that way with a heavy pack, and then back down. And by this time, really hot, right? And Aria and Georgia, if I remember right, they still had dry shirts, which I was extremely jealous of. I was soaked, no joke. Right around the corner, though, this is the bathroom from camp. We had to go through protocols of how to use it, right? Because again, uh, it really is a pristine cave, and they do a very good job at keeping it that way. And it's kind of one of those things where if you're there, play by their rules, right? If you ever want to go back, you've got to play by their rules. They've set them up for a reason. Everybody plays ball. Don't try and invent a different way, right? It is the way it is for a reason. But anyway, this is camp, right? This is deep seas camp. This is around 1,200 feet deep. Amazingly enough, that there really isn't that much rope work to get down to deep seas camp. I mean, there is, but it wasn't what I was expecting. It was a lot of breakdown though, a lot of climbing down, breakdown, boulders, steep hills. But anyway, we set up camp, scattered our stuff, all 32 pounds of my gear, which is the lightest I've ever had for a camp pack for 4 days. Again, minus water. Um, and then we have to go get water, right? But we sat around camp. These are just some camp photos. You see these old crusty mammalaries on the ceiling, but this whole area was part of the area where we do get the water. This has just been abandoned as far as being underwater for a much longer time. But for an actual campsite, it really wasn't that bad, right? It flat, kind of, sort of. You had to climb off this mountain to get down from here, and then, walk under a ledge to go to the bathroom. But anyway, to get water, you have to go through the White Christmas tree room. And the way these white Christmas trees, this would have been a calcite raft pool, and water would have been dripping off the ceiling and sinking calcite rafts exactly where those Christmas trees build up. And of course, that leads you down to Lake Louise, which is the water source for the area. It's about 7 to 10 minute trip to get there from camp, and it's not something you just get up and say, "Oh, I need water. I'm going to go get water." Because you're in your camp clothes, and now you actually have to go caving to get water. That is the downside of any of these camps. You're not camping right next to the water. Like 2 years ago, when I was camping in Camp Two in the system of Walla, like we were literally camped 3 feet away from the stream, and it was awesome, right? But this is not like that. But anyway, there were instructions on what to do, right? You got to walk. The water pitcher is permanently has a home in that little square right there. And of course, we walk into this place, and oh my God, I've seen pictures of this. I've seen Dave Bennell's photos of this. This is so cool, right? So, I was pretty excited at this point. Didn't take the greatest photos, but yeah, whatever. I'm not Dave, but took pictures of just showing that, when you fill up with water, you carry the jug of water outside the flagging, because if you spill it, you don't want to make the trail muddy. All right, because then you'll track it everywhere. Again, it's Lech protocols, right? Or they're whatever you want to call it. Again, they've come up with these protocols. Do it. Do what they say, right? The good thing is you don't have to take a water filter. You don't even need to take microbial, anything. You just drink the water. It is pure, pure, pure. A little hard on the minerals, right? A lot of calcite in it, but it's all good. All right. So the next day, we take off, right? It's time to go caving. All right. So now we're gonna head to our objective out in Zion, and this is the cornflake climb, which is right the other direction from the Christmas tree room. Just kind of these little nuisance climbs with these deviations in there, and we got these traverses, and again, it's not the prettiest part of the cave, but again, more deviations, and it's just more of a nuisance. You definitely don't want to fall here. Uh, for obvious reasons. You're way the hell out there. But anyway, you pop out of that breakdown on the right there where that flagging is in the lower right corner. And now you're in the western borehole. And this was big shit. It was big. Not all parts of the western borehole are huge, but when you walk out of that tiny convoluted little breakdown route and then you pop into this, it's pretty crazy, right? ABC room, and then down to the left there is the passage down to Fubar where Emily Davis had her fall. So everything that you just saw took 4 days to extract her out of the cave. Pretty impressive. You can read about it if you really want to go digging. But anyway, so we're heading down the western borehole, and we are now gaining elevation, right? For Zion, which is our objective, is 400 feet higher than uh, uh, God damn it, deep camp or deep seas, whatever it was called. I can't remember. But anyway, out of the six of us, again, I'm going to hang out in the back, right? If you want good photos on an expedition type trip, get in the back. I did the same thing in Mexico 2 years ago, and every time we were looking down all those massive pits with all those rebelays, and you get five cavers on a rope in one photo, but you can only do that if you're the last person down, right? So live and learn, right? But anyway, the cave now is very white, right? And it feels by looking at these photos like, holy crap, that cave has got to be cold, but it's not. It's still very hot, very warm. So, but this was another thing where when we got to camp, back to filling up the water, now we have our water stashed at camp. We walk back past Lake Louise to head to the western borehole. Uh, I'm carrying 5 liters of water again because while there is water where we're going, you can't scoop it out again, just because, I mean, maybe if you were dying of thirst, they would let you and you were dehydrated, but it's not like, oh, here's a water pool. We're gonna fill up our water bottles because you have no means to collect it, right? So anyway, heading out there, there are a few little obstacles here and there, a couple traverse lines, nothing too crazy. There's a hole in the floor right there with that floor being sloped really badly. You definitely don't want to fall down it. But again, big cave. And it was weird how it went from stretches of easy, like hiking trail to boulders. And then here's the three amigos in this room called Manifest Destiny. Uh, Gypsum spires. I don't know if the whole area was much more gypsum and that's all that's left of everything melting away, or I don't know. But anyway, it was cool. It's a pretty famous landmark, I guess. Then you get these little frost, little gypsum things. And, again, everything is white and you got these holes in the floor and there's crystals growing up out of it, of aragonite and, everything else. And, again, it just looks like wintertime down there. I wish it was, a lot colder. That was my main thing. But again, at this time, I'm still worried that like I'm going to get dehydrated and have heat exhaustion and just ruin the trip for everybody. But this is Dan Austin. If anybody's ever been to conventions, you've probably ran into him there. He's been a cartography salon judge over the years as well. He was the head of the Jewel Cave project when he worked at Jewel Cave National Park as well. Again, more big cave, right? Easy going. This is the Leaning Tower LechC, which is also a massive raft. What are they? Well, like the Christmas tree room. It's just a big raft cone. Okay. This area was interesting because the walls, pouring down from the walls, like here in Missouri, we have mud banks that go from the stream level all the way up to the ceiling, where here it was just piles and piles of calcite rafts, which I have no explanation for because those things were as thick as dinner plates. Like how the hell are those going to float on water? But so I don't know if they were peeling off the ceiling and landing in a pile and sliding downhill. Right here, you can see all that yellowish, the rafts on the floor. Those did look like legit calcite rafts. I don't remember the name of this junction, but this is where the first liter of water for this day got ditched, right? And we're approaching the far west. There's this gear cache, and they warn do not open it up unless you need it, because if you open it, now they have to replace it. Okay. So anyway, heading on out, right? So you see this flagging strung all over the damn place, and this is out on the Apache Highway, and you can see the team up ahead on this massive boulder. That's actually a campsite. That's old camp. So that boulder's big enough for about 6 people to sleep on, but you're still not near water, and the water you have to get, again, you have to go boulder hopping for 10 minutes just to get to it, and then you would have to change into clean clothes just to get your water. That campsite sounds like it sucks. I'll be honest. The whole clean caving protocol, changing into clean clothes just to go through a hole in the wall, just to get water, to come out, to change back into your dirty clothes, just torture, right? Doesn't sound like fun, but for some reason that's what we were doing. So anyway, right before that hole in the wall, though, here's another, like, there was a rope stash there. We brought this out, but again, it was just covered with that microorganism. And this is the hole in the wall to get to Red Lakes. This would have been the water source, but it was contaminated. I think it ended up with E. coli in it. Somebody obviously wasn't following protocol and probably got something on their shoe after they went to the bathroom, got in the water, and then game over, right? Who knows? But anyway, so it's serious. Take off the boots, take off your knee pads, your gloves, your shirt, your shorts. Now, lucky for us, we were still very clean at this point, so we all made the decision, well, the only thing we need to remove is our boots, our knee pads, and our gloves. So we changed into our clean caving, which I'm wearing Vibrant Five Fingers, which is the first time I've ever bought these. I thought they were dumb when they came out, whenever that was. But anyway, now we're in Red Lakes again, aptly named, just this is the water source for out there, and it'd be great to drink. But anyway, it wasn't a whole lot of water, but it was enough, I guess, to sustain people when they were camping back there. But you walk through it, and again, you're in clean clothes now, right? You can see Isaac, he's got his dirty boots just laced to the back of his pack, walking through. And then when we get to a section where we got to change back into dirty clothes, you take them off and you put them back on, and it is what it is. But you got all these red contrasts with these white, the white calcite where the water line was sticking up out. And so now, of course, we've got to go up this wall. This is all still known cave. We're heading basically to the end of the old map where Dan and Derek had a breakout. I think it was 8 years ago maybe 9 years ago in 2017. But anyway, somebody climbed this flowstone. And halfway up the flowstone, I think this was Highline rope. I had some that looked just like this, the single red tracer. I don't think this was Hanson Classic rope. But anyway, I had this massive fuzzy spot out in the middle of outer space. So obviously this rope was repurposed from another part of the cave, brought here, but it was shot, right? We brought this was one of the ropes we were changing out. Brought it out of the cave. It was done for. And by the way, the rope out there is super crusty, sandy. I don't bobbin. So I had to do a 2 bar, and I felt, well, I just clipped it into my brake carabiner, my Munter beaner. So this is how I was getting around, which uh, apparently it's fairly common. Everybody else who apparently has any sense in their head actually uses a Petzl simple, but not me. But anyway, all right. So now we're at the end of the map, right? The end of the, or let's put it this way: the end of the known cave in this area, from before 8 years ago, 9 years ago. So you have to cross this lake, and you can see all that broken rock on dead center of the photo, under that little ledge there. That's the way to the rest of the cave. And this is looking back. This is Georgia, heading back the way we came from. And but we got to go through this hole. And basically, when they got here 9 years ago, 8 years ago, whenever it was, Dan said that there was this formation choke pumping major airflow, and you could see a big black void, right? And that was enough information for the park to say, yes, you can break formations and see if it goes. And I wish to God they would have broken more, because it took me 20 minutes to get through this little piece of crap hole. It was just grippy, popcorny, broken formations, and I'm tall. It didn't it sucked, right? It wasn't scary tight. It was just contorting up through it and getting through it. That was hard. Like Anna, you could go through it with your vertical gear on, because Arya did. And she's bigger than you are. So again, it's not bad, but the taller you are, femur length becomes an issue. But then you pop out and you got more of the orange flowstone, the white flowstone. And Dan, thank God, he stayed there the whole time, because he knew I was struggling. He's like, and he just talked me through. Again, it wasn't like it was scary. It's like, dude, this really sucks. He's like, dude, you got to get on this side. It's totally worth it. So you pop out of that hole, and now you're in red tides. And that's when he was like, yep, this is my discovery, because he was the one that got the park hammered through, and then they mapped this whole area. You go over these extinct, mammillary pools with the white contrast, and then boom, you got all this just major, huge, crazy stuff. And I can only imagine what those guys were thinking, when they found this, quite the discovery, and then, I mean, look at this dead center. You got this massive chunk of a column that grew, broke off of something, fell into the water, and then lily pads grew on it. And now the water is nowhere to be seen. So really old stuff, but really cool. So this is Rising Tides. So this was also the end. There was nowhere else to go. So Derek Bristol was able to do a bolt climb up the far left wall, and they got up there, rigged a rope, really cool formations, pretty bomber natural rigging, right? Nothing wrong with that stuff. Huge. It ain't gonna fall off. And then more let's see, that climb, you had to do that in your clean clothes. So I was frogging with those damn, basically they were aqua socks, but the Vibram Five Fingers, the ones I got were padded, thank God, because the Panton would have killed my ankle without it. But anyway, whatever, live and learn, right? Cool stuff, right? But now you can see that flagging on the floor there where Isaac's boots are. Now you got to change back into clean clothes from dirty clothes, and now you can see the gorilla shit. That's that corrosion residue on the right wall. And if you read the book, again, Deep Secrets, you'll read all about it. This stuff mixes with your sweat and the gypsum that gets on your skin, and depending on your body's pH level, it will you will have a severe chemical reaction on your knee pads, your elbow pads, where you'll have open sores before you even get out of the cave. Luckily, there wasn't that much that we had to actually get in full contact about. But back in the day, again, I guess this isn't just mud. This is the breakdown of microorganisms, or the sulfuric acid, or whatever the hypogene cave process is. uh, this is what's just eating away at the walls, right? So stay away from it. But in the same spot, you got these tiny little helictites, and we're going down through here, and this is when Georgia turned around and she's like, "Oh man, Chad, you're gonna love this." And I'm not sure what she meant by that, but you can see the rope is rigged to many, many formations, and this was the last rope we were there to replace. I think this rope was 9, 10, 11 years old. I'm not sure. Um, Not the way I would have rigged it. As you can see, they just used figure eights, not inline figure eights or butterfly knots. But again, I wasn't there to make waves and say this is how we should be doing it, right? I'm just going with the flow. It's safe enough. It works. Is it how most of us or some of us would do it? Probably not, but here I am, right? So anyway, you rappel off this wall into Angel's Landing, and I guess of course, when you're coming out of there, it's pretty tight. It's kind of gnarly. That's probably actually what Georgia was talking about, just because of how much taller I am. But then you get into Zion, and this is the area with some of the largest formations in the cave, like just total huge. These just massive, wedding cake layer looking huge deals. And I've seen pictures of this kind of stuff before, but seeing it in person, it was pretty neat. Ain't gonna lie. But again, I was on rope replacement team. I wasn't on the check the leads. That's what Isaac, Sierra, and Dan were gonna do. So this was like where we parted ways, and we slowly started heading back because we had ropes to carry while they were dicking around taking photos and getting all these cool shots. If I remember, I can't remember. I think it's back up the hill. There's a dome called Space Shot. It was 300 feet tall. Derek Bristol bolt climbed it, and it went 15 feet at the top. So, just imagine all the effort to get out there, And again, it really isn't that hard. Looking back on it now, it's not that hard. Dan actually went to this area, he told us, on a day trip. Now, it was like a 22-hour day trip, but they did it. I don't know how much water they would have took. Well, I guess they would have took 5 liters in. Who knows, right? We all sweat differently. We all drink differently. I just happened to sweat a lot. On this trip, no joke, I drank about 25 liters of water, and I peed about 2.5 of it back into a bag that we dumped, before we left. So my sweat to the amount of fluids that I was drinking ratio was pretty substantial. But anyway, we're heading back out again, replacing ropes, having a good old time. And Georgia comes around the corner with this awesome coil of rope. And she just knew that I was going to give her shit about it, I guess. So they had me recoil the rope, which I was more than happy to do. They did admit before the trip was over that I'm the best rope coiler out of anybody that was there. So I guess that's a good thing, right? But anyway, I was like, hold on, before you take that rope off, I got to get a picture. So anyway, so back in the Apache Highway, we're leaving. There's actually a photo of this in the LechC book. You can see those boot prints and the red corrosion residue. There was some scientific experiment that's going on there. They got some stuff stuck in that red stuff, I guess, to see how fast it corrodes. But again, heading back, more breakdown. This is back at those giant calcite rafts. Now I finally have somebody in one of the photos for scale. They're huge. And look at that mountain. It's literally pouring in out of the ceiling. I have no explanation for it. Again, I don't think they're actually calcite rafts. I think they had to be more mammillary caps on the formations that would just flake off, peel off, fall down, slide down, make these giant mountains. I don't know. I could be wrong, but here was a good rope stash that we left. Right, these ropes, the age of them, they weren't but 4 years old, so these were good enough to still be left in the cave for somebody else to use in the future. The next day when we were surveying, we were back in Deep Secrets, and they gave me the cave inventory form, which I'd never seen this before. So I was on point, which I was not feeling bad about. I didn't feel like sketching. I have had enough of it. I'm more than happy to pass that duty on to somebody else. But anyway, you're basically taking a geologic survey of everything you see in between every survey station, right? So if you see chandeliers, which we found down in the breakdown. Now, these aren't huge, but they're, I don't know, a foot long total, but they were in the breakdown. You couldn't even get close to these to see them. You could. I mean, I could have kicked one, but what's the point of that, right? They were very well protected. But again, they were down on the breakdown in an area that just nobody goes. But anyway, the cool thing about what happened was uh, we were surveying and the other team was surveying. The joke of that day was we had Team Dix versus Team No Dix, and Team No Dix made a breakthrough survey connection from the west, which is where we are, down into the Near East, which is the first time any survey connection has been made between the east and the west. Now, again, I don't have a line plot of the cave or even seen the whole map or any of that, so the connection and the relation and everything, I'm really clueless about. But Arya was very excited about it, which made me excited because of the excitement, right? If anybody who's mapped caves gets the whole, even though you didn't make a connection or it wasn't a great connection, and nobody's going to care, but surveyors care, right? The explorers care. But anyway, we got out. Nobody died of dehydration, mainly me. It was pretty cool. We got out on a Friday afternoon. I think it was 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and it was only 70. I think it was 72 degrees out when we got out. So this time, like the sweat fest was over, but uh, yeah, that was it. So that was the whole thing. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I get a kick out of talking about it, but I guess I need to stop sharing. But if anybody had questions, I'll be more than happy to help. But if not, that's even better. So,
Thank you, Chad. That was excellent. I do have a question. What's the
okay.
temperature in there?
69, right at 69 degrees. I think Aria had a digital thermometer and on the second day it was like 68, but it's in between 68, 69. I don't know if it ever hit 70 or not, but again, I was shocked at how much of a difference because it's 58 here. If anybody ever comes caving in Missouri, it's 58.
Yeah.
Tag similar, right? It
Yeah.
may be a degree or two different, but it's not that big of a difference. But the difference between 58 and 69 is a tremendous difference.
I noticed that y'all are, wearing bare minimum clothing. So
Mhm.
are you not crawling all over the place and getting stuff all over you? Because,
The most of the travel was not. It was a lot of walking and just climbing over a breakdown. Now, the day we surveyed, I did have leggings on and my shorts and a long sleeve shirt. So, but we were moving so slowly. You guys, anybody who's mapped knows that the pace of a survey is much slower, right? So
yeah.
I was fine until it came time to head back to camp or climb up out of the breakdown. Um, because I did know enough to know that I didn't want that gorilla shit on the back of my knees to cause the trip out to be hell. So, yeah.
Hey, Chad, question for you. So,
Sure.
in regards to, I guess, the policy with the Park Service there with Lech
Yep.
currently, I mean, how often are, survey trips going in? Is it the kind of thing that happens, a handful of times a year? Is it ongoing? Kind of what's the scenario with it currently?
So that's a good question. To my understanding, our team was the first team to survey in there in 8 years or something like that, right? So there hasn't been a lot of survey, but again, there's been a lot of maintenance trips to replace ropes, to replace that flagging. Like we took 8 or 9 rolls of flagging tape in and used every bit of it reflagging because, well, as everybody knows, the flagging tape it dries out, it gets rotten, or it'll start to stretch and then it'll break because of how brittle it becomes. So we would collect all that and bring it out. And of course, the downside of that is 8 rolls of flagging tape, right, is yay big, but you take that same amount of flagging that's crusty.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know Hunter is working really hard to get people in the cave because I've made the comment that like if there was ever an Emily Davis rescue right now, there's not 200 cavers that know the cave. Now, again, from what I saw, navigation is not hard, but if you've never been there and you don't understand what 69 degrees does in that amount of humidity, it's definitely. I understood why they do give a presentation. They talk so heavily about dehydration and heat exhaustion because it was no joke. I mean, I go back now, but gosh, no joke. Halfway through the trip, it was like, what am I doing here? This is not the kind of caving for me, running so hot. This is a cold caver's cave, not a hot
Yeah.
caver's cave, But so I know there's a lot going on as far as park management goes. It's a completely different ballgame from what I'm used to at Mammoth Cave with CRF. I mean, I'm on the board of CRF, and we have a good relationship with Mammoth Cave National Park that doesn't exist, or at least not in the same capacity at Carlsbad. So I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping there's more opportunities in the future because the cave, you know, it's a scientific. There's more to map. They just got to give permission, which hopefully happens.
Yeah. Cool.
Hopefully
By the way, I haven't forgotten that you owe me a beer from Wind Tunnel. So
that.
just in case.
Oh. Yeah, yeah, I guess I do, don't I?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do.
no worries. Hey, great presentation. That was
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions?
I just wanted to say it was a really great presentation. That was fun to watch. That was really great.
Chad,
And
I did have another question. I saw that
Sure.
Hunter, I love Georgia. Aria was on the NSS board with us. She just rolled off, but I love
Oh, okay.
Georgia and Aria. And I met Hunter when we had our board meeting out there in Ely, Nevada. But I saw that he was in the first set of pictures and then not in the last. Did he head out?
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so that does raise an interesting story. So we during okay, so our initial trip was supposed to happen in the end of November, which is when the government shutdown was still going on. So that trip got scrapped and it got rescheduled for this. Well, there were other projects that were going on that same time during the shutdown that got scrapped, that got rescheduled for that same weekend we were there. So when I showed up looking for Dan, there were 13 people at that little shack in that first or second photo that I showed, and they were all staying there too. And we thought we had it to ourselves. And anyway, there was a restoration trip. Gosh, I forget the guy's name, but he's a big time cave restoration guy out
Mike
there.
Mansour.
Yeah, maybe that I think he's in his 70s, early
Yes,
70s.
Cave. He's on the board of with us too. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Right. Little dude. I think he was a
Yep.
bodybuilder. But they had this thing and they were doing interviews and they were like there was a film crew there doing a documentary and they were taking them to another cave in the park the same day, same time we're heading into LechC, but they left much earlier because, large groups slower moving and they wanted to beat the heat. And unfortunately that did not happen. They apparently had an accident and I think Mike got heat exhaustion in the desert on the way to the cave while we were going in. But anyway, that's not why Hunter wasn't able to go. He was supposed to come with us, but if you know him, you'll know they're short staffed. There's no cave specialist, so he's taking like three people's jobs right now, and he couldn't do it, and he had to kind of call it off the night before, which sucked. But I guess he gets to go all the time, so
Yeah.
I don't feel too bad for him.
I was about to
So,
say that's awesome. You got to cave with some good folks. That
yeah, it was funny. I was talking, on the way in, just rambling on about my experiences, and I was telling just the group about, years ago, Marion Smith wrote me a letter asking if he could crash at my house on the way to the Denver, Colorado convention, 12, 13, 13 or 14 years ago, and he shows up at my house with another hillbilly looking dude. and and it was Elliot Stahl's dad, David. I think it was
Dave
David.
Stahl,
And,
yep.
and I didn't realize. Well, of course, Georgia knew that family very well, so it's like, oh wow, small world. So
Yeah.
it was cool, but um, Aria, I kind of knew already because I made her a survey bag a while back. So and of course Dan and Isaac I knew from the Bighorns and whatnot. So it was a good crew though. But yeah, it was a bummer it was a bummer that Hunter couldn't go, but
Yeah.
we've all been in that situation where you're amped to go and then all of a sudden you got to back out at the last minute. So,
Yep.
yep.
Joe, you have a question?
Yepers. So I tend to do my research too. What does SEMO Grotto stand for? SEMO?
That is the Southeast Missouri Grotto.
Oh, that's simple. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so that's basically where I live at and where I got started at. All the longest caves in Missouri are in Southeast Missouri, about from a geographical standpoint, about an hour and a half straight south of St. Louis, right down the Mississippi River, right on I-55. Yeah. So that's where oh God, well, I've had no shortage of finding long caves in that area. So, yeah, I just happened to move to that area, and that was the grotto, and they were mapping a new cave discovery, and that's how I got started. So
That's a good start.
yeah, it was a hell of a start.
All
Thanks,
right.
Joe.
Are there any more questions? Okay.
And thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much, Chad. That was awesome.
Yep.
Um, we're gonna finish off the meeting. You're welcome to attend or hop off, but thank you. All
Anytime.
right. So we're gonna move on to Keith Applis is gonna do a quick safety talk about call outs. Keith, you wanna take the floor?
Yes, ma'am. This month's safety talk is about always have a call out person when you go caving. Give yourself sufficient time, give it sufficient thought so that you are not having to rush out of the cave. Give yourself time for exploration or unexpected holdups. Maybe somebody has a piece of gear that breaks, which causes them to move slower, or maybe somebody gets mud all over their glasses, which causes them to move slower. That has happened. I can tell you, if you have mud on your glasses, you're going to have mud all over your body, and you're not getting it off your glasses. Also, keep in mind that you will be in areas that might not have good reception. So you may have to drive down to the bottom of a mountain before you can contact your call out person to let them know. Your call out person should know the cave you're in, the state you're in, and the county you're in. Also, if your call out person is not involved in the caving community, it's a very good idea to give them a couple numbers of people who are. You can always give them my number, or I'm sure Anna wouldn't mind. I'm sure anybody, I'm speaking for them, but anybody in the EC would not mind being there with that person dealing with that very stressful situation when their loved one has not come out of the cave. And that's about it. That's about all I had to say on that. But always have a call out person when you go caving.
Thank you, Keith. Also, I want to piggyback on that. The local cave rescues would be a good idea to give those numbers, like Hamilton County or Huntsville Cave Rescue, depending on where you're at. If you have a call out and you want to give them the rescue uh, numbers, that would be a good idea. And also, now most phones have satellite text. So I rushed out of a cave not long ago because I was worried about missing my call out. And I was thinking, oh, I don't have service. I'm going to have to drive. Hopefully I can make it. And then I forgot all about satellite messaging on my phone. So that actually works pretty good. If you haven't used it, that's helpful. Joe is going to talk about the Cavers Code. Joe, do you want to go
Give
ahead?
me a second to remember exactly how this newfangled interface works. Let's see here. I think. Well, this just sucks. Let's see if this works. You all should see a pretty web page called Caver's Code. Is that true?
Yep.
Okay, Caver's Code. Can you keep a secret? We pride ourselves on being on the down low, and I don't mean sneaking past landowners by that. Cavers don't broadcast these special places on social media to protect them. Caves are special, and if you want to know more about caves, you'll find us. Well, congratulations, you did. Leave no trace, none. No tobacco in caves, no trash, no poop or pee. Leave only careful footprints. This means keeping your trip small and being willing to do something else if the cave you're in is crowded. Tumbling Rock works a little bit differently. Most southeastern caves are on someone's private land. Many are closed. More will get closed if we aren't on our best behavior. Always get permission and don't trespass. Don't yell. Don't cuss too loud. Don't get naked where you can be seen. Park out of the way and don't block roads or gates. Cavers do right, and it's important that we live up to that. And aside from caves getting closed as a penalty, if we catch you, we will carefully print out closely guarded cave information, roll it up, and whack you in the ass with it, but not let you read it. Yes, we're that mean. Anyway, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. All right, we're going to move on because I know we got several new members on here, and we'll go ahead and do new member introductions. And I see that, is it Mandani?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and start.
Hi, I'm Mandani. I currently live in Atlanta and I went to Georgia Tech. So I went on a few beginner caving trips at Georgia Tech, but I haven't done anything since graduating. And I just wanted to get back, trying it out, getting more experienced and learning more skills. But yeah, I heard about the grotto through a park range at Cloudland Canyon. And I'm glad he told me about it because that presentation about the Carlsbad Canyon cavern was pretty awesome.
Well, welcome, Mandani, and thank you for joining us. All right, any other new members want to speak?
This is my first meeting and enjoyed the and you've been emailing me for a while. The grottos look like they're really well organized and a lot of stuff going on. Been actually watching you and asking you questions that I see as really basic and dumb now, and you were always nice and answered them without making me feel stupid. I've only been climbing for about 6 months. It took a while to get there, to figure out, bouldering versus rescue work versus recreational. But enjoying it a lot. It's meeting some great people along the way. There's only 5 stop signs between my house and the tag location, so I'm super excited about that. I've met David. I knew Pat from doing my VCT class or yeah, at the NSS. So that's all going to be fun. I'm looking forward to helping out with that as much as I can behind the scenes and staying busy. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Matt.
Hey, I'm new as well.
Oh,
My name's Graham Kinsella, and live in Atlanta, born and raised, and I work with Neil. So I've been hearing a lot about it for the last year or so from him, and yeah, gonna bring my 10-year-old son Waylon to the potluck next week or the week after.
awesome.
And looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank y'all.
All right, who's next?
Hey, I'm Danny. I'm in the Atlanta area. I am brand new to caving. So I've been reading about caving for a long time, and then I finally got to do my first wild cave tour and was like, oh my God, I need more of this all the time. And so, did a bunch of Googling, found y'all on Reddit, and have been waiting all of May for this meeting to happen. So excited to be here.
Yay, thank you, Danny. Glad to have you here.
Welcome.
All right, who's next?
I can go. My name is Bree, and I'm very interested in caving. I'm a climber. I've been a climber for a long time, and I've been wanting to get into caving, but learned pretty quick that there's a lot of rules that I'd rather not break. So I figured I'd get in with a group of people that actually know what they're supposed to be doing and know the rules, and so I don't mess anything up or get in trouble.
Thank you, Bree. Glad you're here. What gym are you at?
Active climbing in Augusta, Georgia.
Oh, wow, you're far away. Okay. Glad you're here then. Joe, do you have a question?
I was just going to say hi. My name's Joe Brown. I'm an acrophobic pit bouncer. Thank you.
Joe, you're funny. All right. Let's see. Who else?
Anna, did you get Danny's last name?
Yeah, I was actually just about to ask that. Danny, what is your last name?
Sanchez?
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right. Anyone else?
I guess I can go if it's for prospective members as well. I'm Steven. I'm also a Georgia Tech student, still here. Just trying to get into caving and do it right.
Awesome. And let's see. Who was that just spoke?
Stephen Heisch.
Yeah, Steven
How do you say your last name?
Heitch.
Heitch.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Steven. Okay. Anybody else?
I can go next. My name's Daniel. I'm a friend of Steven, also at Georgia Tech. And yeah, just we ran into some people going into Ellison's Cave and got really interested, and they recommended y'all. So decided to come here and see what's up.
Do you remember their names?
I don't. Steven has, I think, them in his phone book. No. Okay,
No,
never mind.
that's funny. Okay, cool. Well, glad you ran into them and came to us. Okay, so Daniel Durling. All right, anybody else? Okay. All right. Well, okay. Who went caving? Anybody want to talk about any recent trips? Mm, Matt, go ahead.
I had a great one with Pat and David at I believe it. I'm horrible with names. I
Rusty's.
mean,
Rusty's.
Rusty's. Thank you. And it was awesome. It was a really beautiful cave. I was amazed at how the formations were still there and had not been ruined, and it was awesome. It was really a neat one to see. Really enjoyed it. It was easy, and I you mentioned me getting a shorter rack many months ago. Thank you for that. That helped out a bunch. I got trained at the BTC on a stop. I stopped using it. So,
Yeah, I also sold my stop, Matt.
yeah, just in a little tube like that, or just and then I went to what was it? Jack? Not Johnson's Crook. That was my
Yeah.
first wild cave. And the slope going in there with that was, again, a different kind of angle and tough to work that stop in there. So that was twice in live environments. I both went, this would have been so much easier would have racked. So still learning all that kind of fun stuff. Learning, yes, I overeat. I now wear leggings and shorts. I start off in a t-shirt, and generally I've kept that on now. So I figured that out, plenty of water, learning that stuff. So cave etiquette, just really looking forward to going on places, going difficult places, and taking pictures. I really enjoy it.
Awesome. Um, Anybody else? Okay. I'll speak really briefly. Not long ago. Oh, wait, who was that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Anna, why don't you tell us about the 7 cave you went in this week?
Well, I just got back from Washington State yesterday,
Oh, that's
so
true. So this is an off
but
week for you.
I did not long ago. We have something called the closed cave list. So if you're new, that's on our website, and that just lists any caves that are closed by landowners or whatever, and also has any special access rules. So any like caves that are closed during hunting season, also gives phone numbers for landowners. So if you're new, I would recommend you check that out and just make sure you're not visiting any closed caves. But with that said, I uh, recently talked with a landowner on the closed cave list, and he brought me up to his property and let me visit his cave, and he was awesome. He hung out with us, and he was very friendly. We're now keeping in touch. He told me I'm welcome back and welcome to another deep, closed cave. So it just goes to show that, if you are respectful and contact landowners in the right way, that you could possibly get permission. Also, bring thank you cards. I brought a thank you card to give to them. And this was an awesome cave. It's like four or five drops, pretty deep. I think 400 or 500 feet deep. There's a 200-foot pit in there. He was super cool, and it was nice to make that relationship with him. Anyone else before we finish off? All right. Okay, so with no further comments, anyone want to make the motion?
Make the motion, we call it a night, and welcome all the new people. Glad to
Yes,
see all the
awesome.
new
Hope
faces.
y'all join us at our next camp out. Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right.
Guys.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you. Join the NSS. Don't forget to tell the chair or an officer that you have an NSS number, because then you get to
Yes.
be a full member.
I've been also double checking the NSS directory just to see if they do. So no worries on that. Bye, guys.
Good night.